Before COVID, we never thought there is something called affordable luxury. Everything either was luxurious or it was affordable.
Affordability is definitely an issue and a big one at that.
The affordable segment anyway did not have a choice, and the ultra luxury segment, the home loan rates did not matter much.
So there is no question of prices being correcting to meet the expectations of the buyer.
Prices have grown by more than 100% since income have not increased as much. Would it lead to some sort of an affordability issue going forward? Last couple of years has seen a massive turnaround of sorts in real estate. There has been a boom, especially in the premium and luxury real estate segment. And that had its own impact on the mid segment and the affordable segment as well. Prices have grown by more than 100% in some of the cities. And on an average, we have noticed that prices have gone up by 70 to 80% over the last 2 years. So prices of property doubling in 3 years is a significant development. While this is a good news for the category, for the industry as such, and it indicates to the healthy state that the industry is in, but at the same point of time, since income have not increased as much, would it lead to some sort of an affordability issue going forward? And that's exactly the point that we want to discuss today. A very, very pertinent and important subject for all our viewers, whether you are looking to buy for your own use or whether you're looking to invest in a property. Pricing and price inflation is something which concerns all of us. So we'll discuss this, we'll try to decode it for you. What does it really mean? And is there a crisis that is looming around? And what can you expect as a consumer of real estate? Namaskar, I'm Prasoon Kumar and you're watching this new episode of The Property Show on MBTV, world's largest YouTube real estate channel. To discuss this topic today, we have got a stellar set of panel. I'll start with our guest in the studio, Ms. Kuntal Vyas Agarwal, who's founder and design head of Resaiki Interiors and Architecture Design Studio, based out of Noida. We have got Mr. Kunal Behrani, who's Chief Operating Officer of the Unity Group, based out of Delhi. We have got Mr. Jash Panchamiya, who's promoter of Suraksha Smart City in Mumbai. And we have got Mr. Sanjay Daga, who's founder and CEO of NX Advisory, based out of Mumbai. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you so much.
The point that I was making, and let's start with this point, some interesting stats over there. The property prices in metro cities, if you talk of Delhi, Mumbai, Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Chennai kind of markets, they have appreciated by more than 80% over the last 2 years. And if I increase the time horizon to 3 years, it goes up to over 100%, right? The prices in the tier 2 towns have also seen significant rise in this period. So while there was a definite turnaround of sorts in real estate after COVID, and there was a demand for larger houses, larger spaces, and that obviously led to a segment getting created where people were wanting to invest in a house which was bigger in size, therefore ticket sizes were higher and so on and so forth. But over the last 1 year or so, there's a lot of supply that has come to the market now. A lot of construction that were happening in and around COVID period, they have got realized now, and a lot of supply has come to the market. But this supply has not really cooled down the prices. Right? The prices have stayed where they have been, and even in some cases moving up northward. Now, this is a very interesting phenomena where excess supply or extra supply also has not led to the stability in prices. So why is this phenomena happening? We'll first try to understand that, right? Let me start with you, Kunal. Why do you think, in spite of so much of supply coming, prices still continue to go northward?
Well, very honestly, I'll come straight to the point that one, the supply is definitely increasing. people are still vying for projects which are in the luxury segment. People are still vying for, or rather queuing up in long lines. So supply hai, but at the same time, there's demand for a particular segment which is increasing any day. Affordability is definitely an issue, and a big one at that. Anywhere for that matter, we've not seen salaries grow, many folds or 100% in the last 3 years, but for sure the real estate prices have gone up. Basic calculation when it comes to a home buyer. Now, let's say a home buyer was there who was looking at buying an apartment worth. I'm talking about the Delhi NCR market right now. So if I was looking at a bracket of about 2 to 3 crores, it's very hard for me right now to find any kind of housing in Gurgaon. I might have to go to parts of Sona Road, or I might have to go to न्यू गुड़गांव के आगे जाना पड़ेगा, या फिर I'll have to go to if I'm looking at Noida, then I have to go to Greater Noida. I would not find a lot of choices in Noida, or for that matter, the proper Gurgaon that you see. So for sure, things have gone beyond a regular home buyer's thing. And अगर एक छोटा सा calculation लेते हैं in terms of the home loan, आपका जो अफोर्डेबिलिटी होम लोन की है, या आप कितना मिल सकता है होम लोन. So if a husband and wife were earning about 50 lakh rupees in a year, they can possibly get about 2 to 2.5 crores ka home loan between themselves. I'm talking about two people who are salaried. Now, for a person like this, 2.5 crores ka home loan, they will not be able to afford a house in Gurgaon right now, or for that matter, even in Noida, for that matter, right now. Okay, so this is definitely becoming a big issue. I don't know how long it will sustain, but I've not seen even once the property prices going down, as in down. Okay, they might stabilize for a bit. They might be remaining in that same bracket. Like if something was selling at 20,000 rupees a square feet, it might start selling at 19,000, but it won't go to a 16,000 or a 15,000 or 14,000 rupees a square feet. So I've not seen that happening in the last at least 15 to 16 years of my real estate career.
Okay, Jash, coming to you, in MMR, therefore, do you see a similar trend happening where prices are hardening as much as they are hardening, or and what do you think is driving this?
So I'll break this question into two parts. So what is happening is that right now we are analyzing a general trend very statically, but every market has its own dynamics. So post COVID, there was definitely a big surge in real estate demand. So there are multiple factors. One is post COVID, then came the stock market surge. Then there was during COVID times, the interest rates were very low, so the home loans were more affordable. Now, as you see, uh, as home loan rates became more expensive, the mid segment suffered the most in terms of buying decisions, because the affordable segment anyway did not have a choice, and the ultra luxury segment, the home loan rates did not matter much. But so these are some factors. Then adding on to this, when the GST on real estate was made 5% for above 45 lakhs and 1% below 45 lakh consideration values, the input credit was removed because it was under the composite scheme. So now what happens? Consumer feels that the cost has reduced because earlier it was 12% and now it's 5% GST. But what the consumer does not understand is that the input credit has gone. So that 18% of input in raw materials that goes from the developer is a straight cost. And over and above that, there is 5%. So, and the way the raw material cost has moved post COVID, what steel, largely we talk about steel and cement, because that comprises of almost 70% of the cost of any construction. So that what we used to purchase at 30 35 rupees has gone up, had touched even 80 rupees at its peak, and today it's hovering around 50-55 rupees. So there are multiple factors which are adding on, and it's not very easy to reduce prices just because the supply is increasing, because there are so many factors adding on to the whole complexity.
Okay. Sanjay, building on that point, there's also a proposition that is being put on the table which says that, listen, a lot of these markets, the price discovery had not really happened, right? Which means that while real estate was growing, the real price discovery that should have happened for a metropolitan city of the world's largest growing economy and the fourth largest economy, etc., it was due, right? And therefore a lot of this price discovery, which Kunal was mentioning, that prices have moved, say, from 7,000 rupees to 20,000 rupees and not likely to come back, and so on and so forth, was also a part of price discovery that was due, right? Do you agree with this view, or do you think that this price inflation ultimately is going to hurt the industry?
So, to agree with what Josh said, the cost, and there is no cost control on our side, the developer side. Basically, if you ask, the costs are going up day by day, day by day. So there is no question of prices being correcting to meet the expectations of the buyer. Generally, what I see the trend in the last 6 months, specifically in the MMR, it is getting just consolidated. Uh, we don't expect the prices to get corrected. Of course, the premium benefits, etc., etc., all of those have been withdrawn now, and we don't see those coming back soon. Now, even the ready reckoner rates in Bombay specifically has gone up, and all the premiums are linked to the ready reckoner rates. So, if you ask me, if the cost control which is required in terms of in which is the main factor in terms of discovering the price, which is not in the hands of the developer anymore, because the premiums, the construction cost, all this is now being has to stabilize first in terms of having a price discovery. More so, this infrastructure, which is the first and the foremost requirement, is taking shape across all major metros. So the affordability factor, which Kunal was mentioning about in terms of Gurgaon or Noida, the affordability, because people try to get into the distances to get the prices to get the apartments at an affordable price, becomes unaffordable because of the infrastructure and the outreach. So the discovery of the pricing will depend majorly in terms of the how the infrastructure is being there in the remote locations, and how the outreach to those locations is being made available to the general public, and how they can get connected to the motherland. So I totally agree with you in terms of the price discovery is not being made available as such today. It's going to happen. It's a phenomenon which is going to take some more time, and which will happen with the further time being spent on this in terms of the demand and supply, and in terms of the infrastructure being in place.
Okay. Kuntal, tell me, when you're looking at it from a project design or a program design point of view, how much of the design work that you are doing is really for luxury houses or premium houses, and how much of this input cost really becoming a factor in the demand for designs?
Prasun, let me go back one step, and we'll start from what happened post COVID. So before COVID, we never thought there is something called affordable luxury. Everything either was luxurious or it was affordable. But there has been a gradual trend where there is these affordable housing setups have introduced luxury as an element in their palette.
Okay.
One is this. The other is earlier I remember particularly working with many builders where we used to be getting a brief as to sample flat acha bana do. Now the intent is just not sample flat.
It's about
the project, the elevations, the clubhouses, the amenities, and once you have one builder doing so, so it's like a race. Everybody wants to have that in their what do you call it, projects. And now when they are providing more than just an apartment, then the prices are So basically it's that type of a relation there, you're providing more and then the affordability is getting a task.
Okay.
So I think that is where the thing is.
All right, Kunal, see, the point that was being made, which was about, yes, price discovery, and therefore, is it, of course, now truly becoming a reality if you have to buy a decently sized uh, uh, apartment or a house in major metros, whether it's NCR, whether it's MMR, whether it's Bengaluru, Hyderabad, wherever, right? Uh, it seems that 3 crores and above is fast becoming a new normal everywhere.
Absolutely.
Across. And the mid segment consumer, which is the largest belly of consumers in real estate, is kind of getting pushed out of the city. And in MMR, for
Yes.
example, you can't even buy in Kharghar and these areas. Now you have to go to Ural and other places really to look for something that fits your budget. Everything is is kind of becoming Mumbai'd in a way, right? And similar thing is happening in NCR, where Noida has become as costly as Gurugram. In a way, right? And that old classification of Gurugram and Noida being two different, asset classes and markets is all blurred.
Yes.
And gone, right? Now this phenomena taking shape city after city in every city. Uh, where does this live a normal, hardworking, middle class buyer who was the backbone of revival of real estate, who has the aspiration, who is demanding a lot of new things? Because people who can afford luxury, they don't care, right? I mean, there's no problem statement there, really, right? But this segment, which was aspiring to improve the lifestyle and therefore wanting to buy condominiums and get into better lifestyle, all of a sudden they find it out of the reach, right? So is this something that will lead to also some sort of a negative spiral for the industry itself over a period of time?
No, I don't see anything negative happening, but at the same time, I see something maybe brewing up. Maybe there would be a demand for rental housing which goes up, because if I cannot afford to buy a home for myself in the city, I would possibly look at rentals. The rental yields in Delhi, especially, or Delhi NCR, especially, still range between about 1.5 to about 3%. Unlike Bombay, I would say possibly. I don't know exactly how Bombay fares in the rental yield.
No, I think the micro markets of South Mumbai or some of the areas around Parel and all, and as well as the Golf Course Road in Gurugram or some areas of Bengaluru, they behave quite similar in terms of rental yields, and they are way beyond 4-5%.
Sorry to interfere. Bombay rentals are booming up because of the redevelopment being.
That's also one of the factors, yes, and I will come to that, of course.
Because of the major city getting under redevelopment, the rentals are shooting up like anything.
No, sure, absolutely. We'll touch upon that. Yes, Kunal.
So all I see is that the rental yields would definitely be there. People would be looking at rental, apartments, and I wouldn't be surprised if the government tomorrow comes out with a scheme and says that why don't you look at this model and develop the entire project on a rental basis rather than doing something which is on a pure buy and sell basis kind of a thing.
Okay, so Jash, where do you see this going then? Someone who is a mid-segment buyer with a budget of 1.5 crore to 3 crore kind of thing, where will that buyer go?
Whenever we say mid-segment or low segment or high segment, or we say luxury, all these terms have become very subjective and micro-market centric nowadays.
Of course, yeah.
So since we have project in Mumbai as well as in Noida, so what difference that we see is that in Mumbai, obviously land is the most critical component when it comes to any project, the land price. But when it comes to NCR, there is plenty of land that is there. So what has happened is that Gurgaon has developed very fast, even faster than you would have expected Delhi to match up to it, but largely thanks to the DLFs and the M3Ms. And now what is happening, the trend is that Gurgaon portions have become unaffordable and people have started moving, as Kunal rightly said, to either Sona or Dwarka. And we see a lot of movement towards Noida as well, because Noida effectively is a very planned city compared to Gurgaon and Delhi, and the rates are still not as high. So people get larger spaces. So this has largely been the trend, right? If you have seen in MMR also, people have moved from south to central to north. So when you have expanding families, the market value in South Mumbai is very high. So you could probably buy 2 or 3 apartments after selling that unit in central Mumbai or North Mumbai. So that is how it drives the demand to these places. And importantly, now is that people don't mind moving also because the infrastructure development in the last 8 to 10 years has been immense. So now that connectivity issue, once it is resolved, and another 3 to 5 years into it, I think that movement is a very smooth transition and a good decision to make for people.
Okay. Since you made the point of Mumbai moving up north, now it's likely to expand towards east as well. So Sanjay, the question is, with Navi Mumbai airport coming, areas in and around, is that going to provide some sort of a breather? Are we talking about projects coming over there which will be far more affordable in and around, or do we see similar trend catching up there as well?
It's the similar trend, Prasanna, where we already see the prices ranging in the carpet range of almost 25,000 rupees a square foot. So I see that trend to continue because again the SIDCO is the main developing authority there, and the auction prices, the land auction prices is the highest currently, which has recently taken place, and I don't see that cooling down so soon. So again, the affordability issue persists in even Navi Mumbai region, and I see that to continue even after the Navi Mumbai airport opens up.
Okay. So I'll just add to that. So Navi Mumbai, you cannot call it affordable anymore. Any parts of Navi Mumbai,
Exactly.
even Mumbai 3.0, I would say it is a story where I don't see it as a solution towards affordable development, but it is more getting towards an ecosystem by itself. And there's a huge development potential there where eventually commercial social infrastructure will come in because of the airport, and it will be an ecosystem by itself where again the developers will try and cater to all sorts of target segments, right from affordable to luxury. So I don't think a Mumbai 3.0 is like an alternate affordable solution. It is another market being created.
Those will be mini townships in itself, actually, if you ask.
And in fact, better planned townships than what we are seeing right now.
Kuntal, as you mentioned, that more and more projects that you have been designing and the requests that have been coming require best of amenities, they require best of materials to be used, they require best of presentations, etc. to happen. What could be a possible solution from a design point of view for, in a way, cooling down the cost and therefore the pricing?
I think in general, the market and the association of luxury as a brand, and the perception, I think it's very subjective. But if that goes,
and it's not only subjective. Luxury is the most overused word.
Exactly.
In real
estate. For earlier, luxury flooring per se is in Italian marble, but now there is a trend where consciously we are trying to have local sourced stuff, and we are portraying it as more earthen. So the visuals and narratives have been changing, and that ways you can encash, you can have some affordable materials in the kitty, and then you can make little bit, but that number is very normal, as in it's very insignificant in proportion to the amount of money is required. As I think Jash was saying, that the cement and steel and all these pricing, the land value is so much that anything on the affordability level, on the facades, on the designing level, would not mark it that much, as in the change in the pricing won't be that significant, is what my submission is.
So what you mentioned brings me to this this point of sustainable development,
yes,
right? And
that has
become a big buzzword in real estate. Sustainability and
we're flaunting it, and we're telling it in our portfolios too.
And data suggests us that sustainable construction is 40% costlier than a conventional construction, right? And we are talking about conventional construction being non-affordable at this point of
There are
time.
two narratives to it. One is the affordability of the material and the construction style. There are two different elements linked to it. So construction style is of course very expensive, but when you talk about the material usage, of course that is phenomenally lesser in prices.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Jash, has the time come, therefore, for MADA to think of compulsorily making affordable housing in every smaller micro markets of MMR, so that the composition of the city remains a little more democratic than otherwise?
So there is no, what happens here is that government, whether at the state level or the central level, they do come up with initiatives for giving affordable housing a push. So Pradhan Mantri Aawaas Yojana, just to give an example, is actually a very very good scheme which we have worked on, and people have we have got very good footfalls for in under this scheme. But what happens beyond a point is that, as I mentioned in the first point, that the cost keeps rising. The regulations or the rules, that govern these schemes are not foolproof. Uh, for example, that uh, if I have approved a project, uh, like we have approved a project under PMAY in 2021, a financial year, and the pricing is set by the authority that I have to sell it at this price. Now, if it's a small project, it's fine. Within 1 year or 2 year, you sell it. But if it's a township like what we are developing currently, what happens? The fixed price cannot be fixed for 4 to 5 years down the line, right? So today there is no provision under the scheme to get a price revision, as the costs have gone beyond the price. So there are many, regulatory policies, initiatives, and so many factors that have to go into such kind of zones that you talk of, creating affordable housing zones, or even if you make it compulsory. Today it might be affordable, like Mumbai 3.0. It was affordable up to a certain point. Now slowly it will get beyond affordability. So that is the trend, how it moves. If it has to be really affordable on a long term basis, then it's not only about creating those zones, but also about regulating, incentivizing developers enough, incentivizing buyers enough. So it runs right from cost of FSI to subsidies to interest rate waivers to GST waivers. There's a big hit to the government revenue, which they will have to take in their stride to make this happen in all practical sense.
So this is more of a policy level decision there for Kunal. Could Gurgaon, for example, or Gurugram, for example, have developed in a slightly different way, where Golf Course Road extension, and other sectors, whether it's phase 1, 2, 3, and beyond, would have accommodated different asset classes, price bands within the city planning itself? Could that have been a far better approach, or do you think the market forces led approach, where demand and supply kind of decide how a market develops or a city develops, is a better approach going for development of a city?
If you were to take me back in time, of course, I would say a planned development like Noida today, would have been a better thing to do. Like Noida is way more planned than Gurgaon, and I don't have any qualms in saying this. But Gurgaon is way more acceptable to anybody, whether it's affordable, whether it's luxury, whether it's ultra luxury. People would want to go to Gurgaon and not to Noida. But at the same time, so Gurgaon has actually developed on terms of demand and supply. So Golf Course Road, uh, we have seen Golf Course Road, the apartments right now which are selling for 60 crores being sold for 1.5 crores like 20 years back. So it's not like they were not being sold for they were being sold for 60 crores at that point of time. So Gurgaon has definitely given us this thing that demand, supply, and the way things go, micro markets have developed in that manner. Today, if you look at Dwarka Expressway for that matter, pricing has gone up, many folds. We hear of launches happening at 30,000 rupees a square feet on Dwarka Expressway. Now, if you actually ask me, is it practical? Maybe personally, I don't think so. But 30,000 rupees, maybe they're able to sell the projects. If you see it otherwise, it's not practical. Sanjay ji is giving a huge smile on this one, but I can tell you something. It's if you were to go on Dwarka Expressway right now, and people might troll me on this one, but I still have this thing that Dwarka Expressway after 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening, I still find it not very crowded. It is still very it's lonely out there. It's still lonely out there.
And to add to what Kunal is saying, that is the difference between NCR and MMR. What happens in NCR, the prices are moving crazily currently.
Yeah.
There's a big difference here. What happens in NCR, the registry or the sale agreement registry happens post OC.
Yeah.
So whatever sale is being driving is an investor driven sale in NCR. Whereas in Mumbai, since after 10% payment, the registry is compulsory. So there is no investor market as such as big as what you have in NCR. NCR traditionally Mumbai has been a stock market, investing city, whereas NCR has always been a real estate return industry. So all these bubbling prices of Dwarka or Yamuna and all these places where people have sold it on stories, and there is a lot of trading that happens, which does not happen in Mumbai. So all these factors are big in adding on to the price, but the end user is coming only after OC or near to the OC. That is the big difference between these two markets.
My only problem is when we say a bubble has to burst sometimes.
Yeah, so that's why it's not bursting right now.
Bursting. So
Sorry, Kunalji, sorry, the smile came because similar to your example, in MMR, the Borivali is currently fetching a price of 45,000-50,000. Which a couple of years back, the Worli used to get that price actually.
Okay.
but I think that is thanks to Oberoi.
This is maybe you're talking about carpet area pricing in Worli, or for that matter Borivali. I'm talking about super area pricing in Dwarka Expressway.
I think, to be also fair, Kunal, it's also a matter of development of a particular locality in a sense. Once 3-4 projects get delivered there, people start staying. You'll see a lot more crowd happening there. You'll see retail coming over there. You'll see a lot more amenities, and it happens, right? Greater Noida till about 5 years ago or a decade ago used to be absolutely kind of a ghost city. Right, but today, because of Yamuna Expressway and Jewar Airport coming, there's a lot of buzz happening. There's a lot of traffic happening. So it's also a kind of a matter of which stage of development a particular locality is in at any point of time. But point well taken. The thing is, the pricing on one hand, if you see, it looks like a bubble being built, and somewhere it will lead to a crisis. On the other hand, if you see, it also could be seen as the price discovery in Indian market, which had not happened. Real estate is still not an industry. The price discovery had not happened in a very organized manner in this market. And thanks to post 21 euphoria around recovery of economy and everything else, somewhere that exercise has begun. Right, and rightly so. Cities have to discover their own pricing and stay there. Right, and so we have also seen one more trend, and I'll come to you, Kuntal. We have also seen one more trend, which is while immediately post COVID, we saw the demand for larger spaces going up. Right, one extra bedroom, one extra balcony, and so on and so forth. That was very much in demand. Now, because of this affordability issue, now we see consumer preferences changing back. Right, now people are preferring, while they want 3 bedrooms, okay, but they are willing to sacrifice the size, the super area or the carpet area, of the apartment, and willing to settle for smaller bedrooms and smaller rooms and so on and so forth, and smaller balconies, because they cannot afford the big ones. So that's also a phenomena that is being seen very recently, right? So from a
that is more to do with the mid segment. The super luxury segment, it doesn't matter much, and the affordability segment, they are bound to stick to the ticket price issue.
No, that's true, Jash, and that was the point, right? It is the mid segment which was becoming aspirational, which was driving, a lot of demand of larger spaces, larger housing, and so on and so forth, which seems to be, kind of going in a slightly reverse direction right now, and which is why the entire affordability issue as a topic. But this is smaller sizes, but yet wanting to have maybe same number of bedrooms in that smaller size accommodated, etc. Do you see this trend kind of coming to you as a
We
brief in
have,
design?
to continue with this, we have seen a very different movement
Okay.
in the people who are wanting to have this. I don't know how much of you guys know about DINK couples. They have double income
Sure,
and
no
no
kids.
kids.
Yeah.
So I think around us, if there are 10 clients in 3 months per se, there's 7 of them are like that.
Okay.
So when they want to have a space which is affordable, but how are they compromising? They're breaking up the central wall, making 2 rooms into 1 room, making it more expansive. So the projection and perception of having a bigger, larger space in a provided normal affordable space is this is the way they're meeting it out. This is one of the thing. And also I've seen rental renovation projects, they are really picked in. So earlier purana ghar hai and they used to not invest, या rent पे हैं इसलिए they're not investing, but now they're doing absolutely everything in that rented accommodation and having a good lifestyle. So I think if they can't afford a new house in a new apartment or a township, they're getting to an old township
And
renovating it properly so that they can have their best of
lifestyle.
both. Yeah, lifestyle.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is a general thing.
Your point about DINK also, I remembered something. I was hosting another panel with interior designers, and they told me that there's this new concept in Singapore which is catching up fast in India as well, which is called ready to cook kitchen.
Yes.
Right, and your kitchen will no longer be as elaborate and everything as the way Indian kitchens used to be. They'll just be basic, ready to cook, kind of kitchens, and occupy very, very little space.
Yes, just
and therefore optimizing. So interesting trends coming over there. Jash, tell me, redevelopment in Mumbai. Once the redevelopment, though it's a long haul, but once kind of that happens, do you think it will help settling down prices somewhere, or it will have no impact?
Settling down prices, I don't know, because redevelopment by itself is a very costly affair, because firstly you are dealing with so many redevelopments around. Even the sale velocity from market to market varies. Like for example, if you talk of Matunga market, some high profile developers I would not like to name right now have launched at 75,000, and they had to come down to 65,000 to convert sales, because there are local and regional very strong developers competing with them, and they're doing better than these high profile developers. uh, Only the good thing about redevelopment is that it is pushing the rental demand to another level, where people do not want to compromise and go to some other area to stay, and within the area there is only a limited inventory which can go for rent. So apart from that, redevelopment overall helping to settle down, I'm not very sure how is that going to.
Okay.
I think the land price is the same, as in you're just reconstructing in the same way. So I think
But the construction is costlier. It's modern and it's Yes, Sanjay.
I would like to add here, the prices will become more realistic if you ask me, because we have a limited scarcity. We have a limited land in Bombay. There is a scarcity of land, and this opens up more potential because we as advisors and consultants morely focus on redevelopment, and we see that prices coming to more realistic pricing rather than the pricing which are more unrealistic today. taking the example from what just said, okay, that's selling at 75,000 and then coming to the realistic pricing of 65,000, that correction in terms of coming to a realistic pricing will happen across all micro markets slowly and gradually. This is what all I also feel across markets going to happen. And I see those prices coming realistic in western suburbs also, and in suburbs like Worli, Bandra, Juhu also actually.
All right. So in the end, I'll come to each of you, starting with you, Kunal. Next 3 to 5 years, where do you see prices heading? Would it head northwards? Would it settle at where it is? How? What is your prediction?
So in a 5-year horizon, I still see them going up. I don't see them going 100% up like in the last 3 years, but for sure, a year-on-year increase of about 15 to 18% is something which I definitely see happening. People who are thinking that the market will go down, sorry, it will not go down. So if you want to buy, the buying time is right now. Possibly, 5 years down the line, I see that the affordability crisis that you're seeing, I don't think we will be even talking about it, because उसके बाद हम बोलेंगे कि it is unaffordable rather than affordable का word भी नहीं होगा, it will be unaffordable for a middle income person to buy anything in the normal NCR segment, or for that matter the MMR segment, is what I feel.
Okay, Jash, what's your take?
So I would say the trend is definitely upwards. The percentage upwards will vary across segments or across cities, even within the pockets in the cities.
Okay, all right. Sanjay?
Positive trend, upward trends. In the near future, I see a consolidation to happen. Velocity might get affected in the near future with this consolidation, but I see an appreciation of on an average between 5 to 12% year on year going forward. Specific micro markets may see a correction because the prices have gone beyond the realistic pricing. Those corrections might be factored in, but overall positive for next 5 years.
Okay, all right. Kuntal, your take?
I think so. There are these projects that in Gurgaon, so we say low budget, and the Gurgaon projects are called no budget. So I don't see anywhere going down or on a stable note also. So I think it's going to be steep, steady.
All right.
So
That's very interesting. So from low budget to no budget,
No
right? When there's no limitation to budget.
yes, to budgets.
Well, that's the story that's emerging from Indian real estate market across cities now, where prices are expected to go up only. And as they say, every time is a good time to invest in real estate. So if you want to invest in real estate in any of the cities, the time is now, because even for luxury housing, there's enough headroom for ROIs to come.
Yes.
With that message, thank you very much for watching this episode of the Property Show. Keep watching MBTV and don't forget to like, share and comment.